I thought we might have a little Q&A. Day one of your cleanse. Congratulations, Rashan. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yes. I'm going to ask for a little participation tonight. Hey, my Mitchell, how are you? I am going to move Skinny Minnie over to the panelist line. She's going to say, girl, what are you doing? Hey, Bear. Are you there? I am going to also who is that? Is that me? This is me. Hey, Minister. Oh, he's coming on. Actually think that I think Coach Dan is actually in the air right now. Ann, are you there? I'll put you over here on the panelist. Unmute yourself if you're there. Or are you just preparing for?
I'm here. I'm on mute.
Oh, thank you, dear. Thank you for, I wanted to promote you because I want you to be a participant this evening. You're
Yes.
awesome. Husband connecting to the line. And now that you are a Ruby, I wanted you to start taking your leadership role within the company and participating, because they always say who's in front of the room is the people that go up, and you have worked really hard to get to where you are. And I think your story is worth sharing because you did not come into Wakana, let's say, all in 100%. So I want you to talk about, because so many people, and you weren't ever like, I don't think that you held him back at all, but I think not being all in. And I think sometimes people and distributors have issues with their significant others because they're not always encouraging them in their business. And you and Minister Mooney are such a great example of somebody not being all in when they first got started. And I just want you to speak on that a little bit, just to let other people know that things can change in a great way.
Absolutely. I would definitely start there. Things can change in a great way. Well, when I got exposed to Wakana for Life, I was not interested. In fact, I was very ignorant of it, the cannabis space. And all I knew about cannabis is the THC part, getting high. I'm not a smoker and I wasn't interested in getting high. It was the very beginning of our courtship with myself and Minister Mooney. So I went because I believed in what he was doing. Like I just wanted to support him, right? So I did what I'm, what I was raised to do as a woman, that you stand by your man and you support him. Because of his character, I believe that's what allowed me to continue to go forth. This one particular day I went, many days I would go and sit in the back of the room and cross my arms. I wasn't nasty, but I wasn't there. I was physically there, but not mentally and emotionally there. I just wanted to let him know that during this courtship, potentially going into something else, I can support you even if I disagree with you, okay? So fast forward as I constantly went. Of course, it's impossible to sit somewhere and not soak in information. So you learn something new every time you go. But this particular time, Dr. Rita was in front of the room, and I was like, oh my God, I know her. What is she doing here? And then I later learned that she was one of the founders. And I was like, wow. So she, conservative as she is, and just what I known of her, I said it's impossible that she's going to get in this space if it's not facts behind here. So I began to listen to her, and she talked about anxiety, And when she talked about anxiety, she got my attention because at the time, my son was only 10 and he dealt with some anxiety. So, you know, I asked her questions, and she was very understanding, and she articulated to me exactly what I needed to do. And when I went and did exactly what she told me to do, it was successful. So that really caught my attention. So I began to look back and I just watched my mister, and I began to see his name grow in the Wakanda land, getting accolades. I seen his leadership position role take. I saw how he was gun ho to following Phyllis system and looking up to her and getting the exposure. And I'm just like, I watched him and I was just like, wow, he's a walking success. So that made me even more interested. And then too, I was referring him to people, not even caring about the money, you know, just exposing him to my family and friends. And then one day he was like, why don't you start your own account? Not intentionally wanted to do it, but it made sense based off what he said. And then I did it, and it was like, to me, it was like a high, like it was a video game you were playing. So I began to get more knowledge, and got excited when I got a sale. I got excited when I told a story. I got excited when I was knowledgeable of the product. And then after learning more and exposing my mom, and then, you know, just believing in natural healing and health. And I know my mom has always been ill throughout my entire life and on medication. And I was like, when it helped her and she was interested, my whole mindset shift changed as well. So not only that, Minister Mooney was a leader. I just began to watch him and I soaked up what he did and I duplicated what he did. And even though I was only there as a standby because I believed in him as an individual, not so much the company, it allowed me to definitely believe in a company by standing there and being with him so closely. So that's how I'm here. And the rest is history. And now what I love about where we are is there is a Minister Mooney, there is the Moonies, but I made my own way without him. Not without him, I mean part of him, but I have my own ranking with doing, you know, putting in the work by seeing what he's doing. So, and then not only that, knowing that using wisdom, that two is almost always better than one. And I'm like, we in one household. Why can't we capitalize on this? You know, so the hunger grew different. The help grew different as far as exposing more people and just want to get them in this industry as well. And just like, wow, the rest was self-explanatory. I was like, it's nothing left to say, but I'm all in.
Wow. And Minister Mooney, you're there. How was that on you in the beginning when she wasn't all in? But I know never saw you waver. Never, ever, ever saw you waver. And I never saw dissension between you because she was there in support, even if she wasn't all in. But what's the difference in the beginning and now?
Oh Lord. It was rough in the beginning. It was very, very rough. And because she shared the transparent truth, like she really wasn't feeling the company. You know, she really wasn't, how can I say, she wasn't outright nasty, because that's just not in spirit. But I knew she wasn't comfortable with the space. You know, she wasn't comfortable with the time that I was allocating towards the space. So it made it difficult, but, you know, the vision was just so powerful. And a lot of times we, especially as an African-American man, you're not presented with many options, especially when you're looking at taking on a family. So the resistance and I guess it was just really, really standing on what I believe that God, and it shows that God has given us. It didn't outweigh, like the resistance didn't outweigh the vision, the mission, the goals, the blessings, that even if it hadn't come into fruition at the time, we were being invited to a space where it was possible. And you and Melissa and Senator Pat and Dr. Rita made it welcoming for me, which made it even more where I had something that I can show in, like, this is where we need to be. And that's what made it easier. But it was not easy at all. So to go against resistance is now it's normal for me. You know, it's not a big deal anymore. So now that we're kind of, and you guys have been through that before, because we read the newspaper, read the articles, and read everything that the company had been through before we had even set foot in the company. So to have that on resistance, maybe in my home, or we have resistance in our families, or whatever case may be, you all have been examples, and it was an example to me that I could get through this. And now my wife, who's a Ruby in the company, who was able to decree and say, we're going to Jamaica and I'm taking us there, that's like a complete 360 if there is one. And it really have made it even more powerful. And like you said, we look at the shares that or the founders pool, and not only, we started out where it was only one check that we were splitting, and now it's 2 checks. You know, and that's wow. Powerful. Yeah, it's very powerful.
Yeah, it is. And you've just come so far, but you know, that's the best kind of way to get involved, because you were not convinced by anybody.
It took me a long time.
Yeah, it did. But once you got it, oh my God, you got it. And I'm so glad you got it, because you bring such energy to this, a realness, a genuineness, and I just applaud you. And you know, I just love you to death. Because it did take you, but all while you were standing on that wall, crossing your arms, I was like, she's gonna be okay. She's just gonna be okay. Because once you know something that's real, you just stand on what you know. And sooner or later, some will and some won't. But I'm so glad you did.
But not only that, Phyllis, there's this quote, I think it's by Warren Buffett, that we always quote in the beginning of a presentation: once your mind is expanded, it can never go back.
Oh, that's Waldo
Emerson. That
quote
is where I am. That was slow. That right there, slowly was me.
Right. Like well, that's good. And that's why. And that's right. We kept dripping on it, because it was like, girl, you're going to do this. You're going to do this. But we ain't going to push you. We're going to let you do it in your own time. And so that's the best way to do it. And that's what you want to do for your prospects, guys. You just want to keep. Ann was engaged because her and Mooney, that was the beginning of their relationship too. And she was there supporting him. But just like those prospects out there that you say, never. I mean, and we didn't bombard her. We just were consistently who we were, representing Wakana in the way that we wanted it to go, getting the benefits of the products as people used them and had more and more testimonies, and then having a testimony of her own. And that's exactly how you should be going and presenting this to people that you want to share it with, not spamming them, not bombarding them, but just keep on showing, showing up. Just like I tell you all the things about sharing your experiences, your testimonies, your results with the flat belly lifestyle. People are watching you. And so no, they're not going to jump in from day one. You know, how many exposures does it take? Mooney and I talked about this. Why don't you talk about, Mooney, what we said should be? A lot of you guys are sending people to the dispensary to be scanned. Why don't you talk about what that process should look like? That should not be their first exposure.
So yeah, the process, when the process should look like, you all, like, we have to be the first line of contact, because it takes so many different exposures, like 7 exposures for someone actually, for that light bulb to go off. The premium way that I feel that a person should be exposed is through you, through the website, through the Sunday call, through asking the right questions. It's really our system. When you look at chat, when you look at Sales Academy training, when you look at them being a part of your list, well, the real deal is that if they see the video, like Eric Prince video, where he talks, there's one video that is just so amazing, and we have a couple on YouTube, or they get on the Sunday call that Sunday 5 o'clock call, and they listen to everything that's happening, all the questions being asked, all the different transformations. By the time they get to the dispensary, and now they're sitting there, the scan and the blood type tested, now it starts to make sense where we at the dispensary don't have to deal with them on a first exposure, like they've already been exposed before they even arrive.
Right.
And that's what has happened in those cases. You get people walking in there saying, I've already heard that I should do number 3, and I've already saw this and saw that. Now I just needed to come home for myself. I need to see my blood type, my scan, what's going on. But when you look at, I'll give you an example of someone who does that very, very, very well, and that's Gigi Harris. And when you look at our leaders, like you mentioned, you look at Ernestine Davis, Gigi Harris, Dr. Kemp, they don't have scans, and Gigi Harris and Dr. Kemp don't have scans in their location, but they were able to expose, to come in the first place, second place, third place, so many different people who was exposed to doing the 21-day detox, the 21-day cleanse. That right there says that they were using the tools of the Sunday call, the video, or asking the right questions. That's really the seeds that we want to plant. That's really, and then when they do finally get to this final spot where they get the information on what's going on with their personal bodies, what is their blood type, they figured it out, or we expose them to it, or they go to buy the blood testing kit on their own. They already now know, because they see what we've exposed to them, where to land. So pretty much that's
excellent. And that's the system. It has to be a system that's duplicatable, because we're going to what? We're going to test 1 million people in the next 18 months for their blood test. So to even get them to that point, there must be a system, and it has to be a system where you use your tools, just like your regular system, your 3 videos. Now, I think we should incorporate, when they release that Flat Belly Lifestyle, that should be a 4th video that we share, because they're all short and to the point, and it gives the person enough information. Or you might want to separate those two. Whatever is using the system to expose people, to get them on the Sunday night call or any other call that we do, and to take them from one step to the next. Because again, doesn't matter what we're showing, it usually takes that average person 7 exposures before they can make a decision. And when you get to having them actually take the scan, they are ready to go on and say, hey, I'm ready to get started with 1, 2, 3, whatever, because they know they need it and they've been exposed enough. It's not brand new. So in the chat for the people, all the attendees, if you have any questions that you would like to ask myself, Mooney, or Ann, because you might have a relationship problem not a problem, or maybe an issue, because I don't think it was ever a problem with them, but some are problems. If you want to ask some advice of them on the relationship, if maybe you doing the business and your spouse might not be all in yet, or any other questions about the flat belly, or any question, let's use these next, what do we have, 7 minutes to do that? Well, let's say 6 of those 7, because we don't want to be last minute transitioning over to Wakana. But if you have anything, just put it in the chat so we can answer it for you. Oh, everybody, nobody has any questions? Y'all know it all. I'm glad. Can we raise a hand?
Yeah, if I could say, while you guys are coming up with those questions, I think Ann my wife has really kind of laid out, like, and there's some other people here, I'm not going to call you out, but most of us have seen the resistance, or I'm not interested. And it may be in your own house, maybe in your family, your friends, coworkers, whatever the case may be. But Ann represents that dripping, those number of exposures. It's not a respect of person, right? They're like, oh, this is my wife now. And it just took those, and I'm like, look, if Phyllis has it in, you know, her and her love bug, you know, Senator Pat and her love, everybody has Troy and Eric, Troy and Erica. Everybody has that person or that those people that are around them that it just may take a little time and a little more exposure, but you don't give up. So if you have any questions, you guys are getting some transparent stuff right now. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. All right, no questions. All right.
Okay.
All right. Well,
I appreciate you guys so much and your time. I just love working with you guys. I just see us doing so many great things together. And congrats. And Ann, are you finished with your scan? I mean, with your 21 days?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I think I finished like 3 days ago, was it?
Okay. Okay. I know Sylvia will be coming off Friday. You know, it's always really great when people go through that and how they feel and how they look. So I commend you. And for any other of you guys that are finishing, going through, whatever. Okay, 2 people have their hands raised. That is, and they're panelists. Oh, that's me. Cheryl has a question. Okay. Let me see what she's saying. Okay, Cheryl, what's your question? Dr. Roz is finishing hers on Sunday. Oh my God, that's awesome. Cheryl, what's your question? I see you. Okay. I don't see you typing. Okay. The blood test analysis, do you get training how to do it? Mooney.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some training on that. It's pretty simple. The instructions are so simple. They're on the package. So yeah. Yeah.
People actually order those themselves, right, Mooney, and do their own. So I know that they're the explanation or instructions are right there on the pack.
Can we come down on Tuesday and Thursday? I don't see why not. If you wanted to observe and just, you know, volunteer, help is always needed. And even if it's just, especially if you, Cheryl, have already signed up to be a coach.
She's already in a present coaching program as
we speak. Please.
She's actually,
please please come down, get an eye full, listen to, you know, kind of get a tone, you know, and I tell you one thing it will do is compel you for what you want to do even outside of the dispensary. Right. That's really what I think it does when you see just how wonderful the system is.
And then, it builds your confidence also.
It really does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anytime in between, I would say come early 2 and 6 o'clock.
Fontaine, you go to the website, flatbellylifestyle.com, and you see where it says book online. That's how that person does it. And you want that person really to go on there themselves. Again, the cookies are there. So if they're using their own device, and go on and book that appointment.
Oh, that was a good hit.
Okay. So guys, okay, how do we sign up to volunteer on Tuesdays or Thursdays? Stephanie, are you in the coaches program? Coaching program? Yes. Okay, so Mooney, I mean, if you want to just show up and volunteer on Tuesdays and Thursdays and maybe observe. Now, are you in the current program that we're doing right now, or you are in the one that's starting this coming Saturday? Stephanie.
You're welcome, Cheryl.
Okay. So okay.
She said the current. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So just come on down. Come on down. And go ahead. And just it's a lot to do. Trust me. And if I'll always say what Phyllis tells me. If I'm coachable, if I'm willing, and if I'm hungry, you'll fit right in.
Right.
If any
you
of
don't
those
know what
three,
you might be doing when you
I'm
come.
telling you, if you come down with your own idea, I just have to say it the way it is. If you come down and you don't have those three things, it may be a little awkward.
Yes. And
Because
with
then
that being said, it's 7 o'clock. We're gonna open it up to Wild Wakana.